Welcome back to one of our chats. My name is Naya Calderon, Clinical Director here at Ham Clinic.
Hi, my name is Sang Zhang. I am a clinical trainee here at Ham Clinic.
And we are coming today. We could not leave y'all hanging for Pride Month. We wanted to make sure we put something out here in the community that addresses some of the specific needs of the community members that we are wanting to serve and hoping to serve. And so Sang and I are just gonna have a brief conversation. And what's interesting is that this conversation actually came a little bit naturally because Sang and I started, Sang has a really interesting email signature that talks about some of the things that we're gonna bring up. And I actually, aside from this video, asked Sang to explain to me and help me understand and educate me, and they did such a wonderful job. And so today we'll be chatting about a few details, not a whole lot of time, but just about a little bit of our conversation and why it's important. And specifically, we want to talk about gender-affirming care and why that's important, and pronouns and why they matter. And so I'll just do a brief question just to ask right now, Sang. And is it fair that I can kind of share? I'm asking you because you identify the queer community, and so representation matters.
That's definitely.
And I just wanted to be a little more curious with you again and share, what would be, what is for you, what would you identify as both a practitioner and also as an individual who identifies in the community? What are the important things to keep in mind when we're talking about gender affirming care? What does that really mean about pronouns, and especially in mental health?
Yeah, and I think for me, I always bring my lived experience to my professional work, and part of that as being someone who is second generation Hmong American, queer, and non-binary, is that I bring these experiences, these representation, and more so just acknowledgement to these underrepresented and underserved communities, to know that part of gender affirming care is being able to have language reflective of that. And so when we talk about this email Naya saw of mine and my signature, I include my pronouns, they, them, or any with respect for myself, just to indicate that for myself personally, I have a expression of gender that is on a spectrum between masculinity and femininity. And for a lot of people, they have their own variations of that. For folks who are non-binary or gender non-conforming, trans, I think it's just really about getting to know their experience, what language that they would want examples being, if they want he, him to be identified for themselves, she, hers, they, them. There's a whole language to continue to learn about as we evolve. Just having that be reflective of someone's experience.
I really love the intersectionality of all of it. And in a video we made a while ago with Marithi, we talked about the importance of intersectionality and bringing it into the client room, in the room with the therapist. And so one of the things that we also kind of touched on briefly is talking a little bit about how sometimes that type of language that's used, it can be harmful, and if it's misused or used as a weaponized, or if it's weaponized against people, it's very harmful. And we talked about pathologizing. But in simpler terms, can you share a little bit more about how that is harmful, or even to a community member who may not have the work that we might use clinically, how can that be harmful, or what might be helpful? Either way, whatever way you like to go with it.
I mean, I think even outside of mental health, the field of mental health, we have had a long history of folks who are assigned a gender at birth, and as they grow and maybe present or express themselves, that deviate or outside of that kind of boxing, that there's often shame, there's often rebuttal, that people are not right. And so part of being able to have this language encouraged and really reflect on people's experiences and just leaned into with curiosity is just to normalize that trans people, gender non-conforming people are here, are going to continue to be here, and that they deserve care. And I would say that we see, I think throughout the years, a continual trend of folks coming out more, because I think we have more education, more awareness, more opportunity to talk about these things, such as we're doing right now. And so, as people are coming out, being able to have the support, be able to have the conversation more, to build in the tools and understanding really, just what does it mean to know about this human experience.
And I think too, as I'm hearing you talk about that, and we were talking about like just in our communities of like our BIPOC folks, and so it's like the intersectionality is really big there too, because you're not only dealing with feeling like you're in a different box because of the race or ethnicity that you are in, but also then it could be also your orientation, or it could be how you show up in the world, your experiences. And I feel like this is not just a thing that just started happening. And you were kind of sharing like this goes beyond the idea of just like the recent decades, or now that it's more like it's communicated about more often. Like this goes beyond that.
Yeah, I know that for me, I have an understanding that in Hmong language, we have use of pronouns that's actually gender neutral, and the pronoun will be pronounced nu. Has no assigned masculine or feminine connotations when referring to someone. And so these are snippets of how, for a long time, part of our histories, we have always existed. And this holds true for so many communities. And I think the myth often for some of us who are first generation, second generation here in America is that this gender stuff, this LGBTQ stuff started in America. And when we look to some of our histories, just with these small snippets, such as I mentioned with this language of the pronoun nu in Hmong, we can really find examples of how we've always been here.
I am really inspired by one. You're very courageous, you're very brave, and I have always admired that about you. So I think that having this conversation opens up a conversation in your home as well, and with your friends and family members, community members. This gives an opportunity to do just what we did. We started with just a personal conversation, me being curious and saying being brave enough and vulnerable enough to share with someone that he trusts that can hold that, and that's important. And also, I just want to mention that this is a conversation we want to continue, but we are also hoping it's one, like I said, that you can continue as well. So thank you for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your Pride Month, and we'll see you the next time.
Happy Pride! Thank you all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
You have a twin? What?
I do.
Identical?
Yes, but we don't look like no more. Yeah, their hair is very long.